All right. Hello, Internet. So I'm Joe.
I'm Eric,
And we're actually all here.
and you're listening to Just Cool Enough. And guys, I hit level 4, and I can't decide if I want to if I want to go with a feat or if I want to actually just raise my
You had your
my
opportunity. You
my
had your
skill
opportunity.
level.
No,
Well,
last week.
if I was looking at like this feat right here.
Oh my God! What is this?
Well, because I like some of the, like there's one here, there's actor that I think it works for my role playing. It's not exactly it'll help me, but it's still I gain 1 charisma,
So I've been playing some
I'll go up.
Civilization, and I'm wondering.
That's nice because it's good if you go with a feat that still gives you a bonus to one of your.
Yeah.
Feet help
Yeah,
you.
and the actor does that, but also like if I just spend 1 point in charisma and 1 point in dex, then I get my
didn't you have this
ability
conversation?
modifier goes up for both of them, and that would be great because that means with my ability modifier at
You did
4, I can do
last
4
week,
bardic
and you
inspirations.
barely talked about it, and now
Just-
you're doing this.
Well, that's because we played Monday, Joe, and we did this after the show last week, so we're just catching up.
Yeah, we just hit
Why
level
don't,
4.
why don't you guys do your own D&D show where I'm not involved? Because that would be great.
We were just assuming you're probably going to quit on us again, so we were all ready to talk about it.
I can't help. I have a very important corporate job,
On
and
Craigslist.
I can't help that I'm very important. Did I mention I'm very important? And I do corporate things at corporatestuff.com. Industrial reports.
Yes, reports.
Get PTPS report. Did you know that those changed? God damn it. Somebody changed them, and I got talked by 3 different managers.
They're going to have you come in on Saturday.
I have done it. Anyway, so how's life, gentlemen? Mentalgen?
Interesting. I went to a Halloween party. Made sure like I made it into 1 picture, so there's at least evidence that
You
I
have
was
proof?
there. So I have some proof that I was actually there, but just the 1 picture, no other pictures. But yeah, it was interesting, especially the part where I was meeting my friend Kyle there, who has been on the show a couple of times, Mickey C. And he was like, because I was like, I got nothing. He was like, oh, I'm not going to know anybody at this party. And I'm like, hey, at least you got invited to a party. I didn't, nobody invited me to nothing. He's like, hey, you can come too. It's this person, and I met the person who was throwing the party, a few weeks ago, but I didn't really get a chance to talk to her much or anything. So I was basically not going to know anybody there besides Kyle. And then Kyle was like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, fine. And so drive all the way out there, get dressed up. I didn't have much. I dressed as a tourist. Which
Now,
think was-
I remember you claimed that you were worried that Kyle was going to bail on you.
Yeah, like I was like, what the fuck happens when he bails on me? So I get there, and it's all the way in North Hollywood, which not that far from me, but not like I could just walk home. Mom drops me off. I get into like the hallway before the party. I'm like, I don't know anyone here. I'm gonna text Kyle and see if he's here yet. And then I text him and nothing. So like. Okay, after like a minute, I call him, and then it's like, I guess he changed his number at some point because I don't have his number. So I'm like, fuck. So I'm like getting on, I try because I'm in a Google chat with him and Eric and Dustin, and I'm like, does anyone have Kyle's number? Because this is kind of like a waking nightmare for me.
I'm really new to being outside of the house and also being at a party. I really need some sort of security blanket / person.
I
One
said
of you
to it.
so kind.
Yeah, I said it to them first, but then I tweeted it later. The tweet that that's cool. It's not like this is my nightmare or anything. Being stuck at a Halloween party where I don't know anybody. And then I like nobody responded. And then I text Eric. I'm like, seriously, do you have Kyle's number? And then he got back to me. And then I was like, finally. So I text Kyle. Nothing. Call Kyle like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, God, this is fucking nothing. I was like, I know. I made sure he was like, okay, I'm leaving, and I know where he lives and where the party was, so I know how long it should have taken. So he was probably in there, but I wanted to know for sure. And I literally stood outside the party for 20 minutes before I actually went in. And the only reason why I went in is because the door opened so wide, the girl throwing the party recognized me and said, "Hey, come on in." And I was like, "Fuck, now I have to go in." And Kyle was there. But it was literally like the worst possible outcome I could have imagined for that 20 minutes. It was like everything I'm terrified of like just happened, and luckily like.
But you survived, dude.
You're a better person for having that experience.
Right.
You've learned something.
Wasn't this
Never
a
to
growing...
trust that somebody will meet you at a party.
You grew up. You grew up, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like Eric's getting so big now, Ike, and I think he's finally ready to leave the nest.
I mean, worst case scenario, if he hadn't been there, you could have asked somebody else's parents who was dropping them off if they could give you a ride back home, right?
That's true. I could. That's because that's a thing that happens. But yeah. I was like, I can't call my mom for a ride home at 5 minutes after she dropped me off. It's just pathetic. I'll take the train or I'll walk to the subway station. The 45-minute walk. It's raining, but I deserve that. And then take the subway home.
But I deserve it. Well, my life is terrible.
That's what I get for trusting other human beings.
That's what I get. Go to a party, leave my house, put on pants, comb my hair.
Yeah, and the party was super fucking crowded. Like, it was just wall-to-wall people.
Oh, man. Dude, I don't like being... Like, I really don't like being in parties like that. I can't stand it. I would rather have a small, intimate experience with just a few people. Intimate, take that however you want. It was the wrong choice of word. But, like, I'd rather just have, like, a few people over for dinner rather than going to a big party like that. Because I mean, like, new people are great, but... No new friends is my main rule. Like,
I didn't make any new friends. I spoke to nobody but the two people I spent all day, basically me and Kyle clung to each other and didn't speak to anyone else.
But
and then his childhood friend TJ was there, who I met at the Avengers Marathon, so I talked to him a little bit and his wife a little bit, but basically nobody else.
That's what happens. Like, you go to these things and you have to, like, random happenstance. Like, a chicken nugget will, like, fall from the sky and, like, hit somebody in the face, and then people, like, laugh at it. And then it's like, that can be an avenue for conversation. But if everything goes normal in the party, then it just kind of ends up sucking. Like, something weird has to happen.
My favorite, because I even go to parties with people who I've known for a while, but I still have that awkward kind of, like, I'd rather just kind of sit there by myself, and then the nice people who make it more awkward by trying to make it less awkward to come up like, so, how you doing? It's been a while, and you're like, good, and they're making small talk, and then like it kind of peters out where you're both kind of quietly standing there, and then they quietly like turn.
Yeah, I literally
to this person.
As someone who's usually putting themselves out there, why don't you just fucking make it less awkward by returning conversation?
I do, but it's like, yeah,
to talk about. Why do you
there's no choice?
Go fucking weird and go like this?
There's no chance because literally I made one attempt to be social. There was a guy.
Okay, I'm done.
I will tell you about this attempt. So we were all. It was towards the end of the party. We were all. I was clinging to Kyle, as I'm wont to do at a party where I don't know anybody but Kyle. And this guy was dressed as Russ Cole from that show on HBO. I forget, True Detective. And he said something, and then I turned, like, he was talking to somebody else, and I happened to be right there. And I said, I don't even remember what I said, but I said something to somebody who was standing next there, like, about Russ Cole as a character and stuff like that. The guy literally looked at me and then left the party. Like he just walked away. Like, granted, he probably was leaving the party anyway, didn't quite hear what I had to say, but literally, like,
piece of shit. I'm out of here.
I said it, and he just walked out the door, and I was like, well, that was my one attempt to speak to be social, and the guy fucking left the party, and Kyle was like, yeah, I fucking saw that. So that's what I'm like when I'm.
Maybe you're more like Raj from Big Bang Theory. Maybe if you get a couple drinks, I know you're not an alcohol drinker, but perhaps you should try, and maybe you'll end up opening up.
I don't know. I had like 2 cream sodas and a bunch of cookies.
Oh, living it up.
Watch out, we got a badass over here.
Hey, I will have you know, the cookies had ghosts on them.
Shit.
Yeah.
So, Ike, what did you do for Halloween? How was it? I'm really mad that I missed last week's episode because I wanted to buy a Mario costume and dress up and be like, it's a me, Mario. And then, like, I thought, oh, you guys are gonna
here because everybody makes their own costumes here. Nobody goes store bought.
I'm not from there, so it doesn't matter.
Kyle spent over $100 on his costume.
His costume looked amazing.
Mhm.
I saw pictures of it. He was the Darkwing Duck guy. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, Launchpad McQuack.
Well, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ike, how was your Halloween? What'd you do?
Well, I had some friends because we had Rhode Island Comic Con this weekend. So my friends are like, "Oh, we're going to a wedding on, or we'd like to come stay Friday night, So Amanda and I were thinking about going out, but we're like, "Oh, we'll stay in, well, whatever, Maybe we'll give out candy to all 7 people that showed up." And they ended up, our friends didn't get home, until like 11:30, and then they pretty much went to bed after the wedding because they had to be up for Comic Con on Saturday. So I did absolutely nothing on Halloween, except I did attempt to drive to get some Pepto-Bismol because my girlfriend wasn't feeling very well, and it's the scariest thing driving on fucking Halloween because you're like, I'm gonna hit somebody. Like, there's no ifs and I didn't, luckily, but there were a few ambulances out and about driving around with their lights on because I'm sure somebody got picked off. And I have these zombie magnets all over the back of my car, and I usually don't mind leaving them on when they're outside on the back of my car. But for Halloween, I'm like, I'm gonna take all my zombie magnets off my car,
just in case the hoodlums show up.
Yeah, try to steal my stuff.
I had a really interesting Halloween. I was gonna go to a party, but I had such a crazy work week that I was just like, I just don't have it in me. I'm not gonna go to the party, and like. So didn't go to the party. I'm like, I'll just stay home, pass out candy to the children. We made little baggies for like the kids we know, and then all the other kids can get fucked. We just give them like the fun size shit. I wanted to be cool guy, and then I realized how expensive it is to be cool guy that passes out all king size. I'm like, you know what? I don't really like kids that much. So
you hand out razor blades.
No. So anyway, I'm like, I'll be semi cool guy, and all the kids that live around me that I recognize, I'll give them the king size like little goodie bag that I made with like a king size Twix, Snickers, like the good shit, right? And then all the other kids get shitty candy. But we get these like 14-year-old and like teenagers that come to the house that aren't dressed up as anything. And it just so happened we had some extra fruit at work that was going to go bad over the weekend. And since Halloween was on a Friday, I took this extra fruit home. And I decided all the people that weren't dressed up as anything, I would just pass out fruit to them. And so things were
that asshole, huh?
Things are going like a group of people come up to the door and like there's like a person dressed up, and another guy that just has like a bedspread or like one of those pillowcases, and he's dressed up as nothing. And like I'm like, here you go, here's some Twix for you, here's a handful of candy for you, and here's a banana. And the person was like, what the fuck? Like the fact that you said what the fuck just signifies, okay, you're too old to be Halloween trick-or-treating. Get out of here, you piece of shit. But ran into a problem, okay? Some kid was, like, at my door and being, I'm, like, giving him a hard time because that's what I do. And I'm like, hey, you're dressed up as a ninja. You're dressed up as Jason. I'm like, what the hell are you supposed to be? This is a teenager I'm talking to. He's like, I didn't dress up as anything. And I was like, well, people that don't dress up as stuff, they get fruit. Where I mean, like I got candy here, I got fruit there. You're getting a piece of fruit. He's like, and he had a mohawk hat on, right? And he goes, I'm an Indian. And I was like, what? And it just so happened, I have a actual Indian at my house. So Tish was over cooking dinner for us for Halloween, and I was like, that's some racist ass shit, saying you're an Indian. And he looks at me like, what? Like, I'm getting called out. I'm just going trick-or-treating. And like all his friends are like, oh, shit, you're getting called out. And I was like, yo, you're definitely getting a piece of fruit now. So I gave him a piece of fruit, and I gave his friends extra candy. I was like, get out of here. Get out of here. And I made a Tish come to the door. I'm like, that's a real Indian. He was like, if you're being anything, you're Native American. Get it right. So this kid walks away from the door like, oh, shit. Like, I just pissed off the wrong guy. I gave the other kids candy and sent them on their way. He's not gonna fuck with me anymore. Come over here pretending you're an Indian. Like, what are you? Oh yeah, I dressed up as an Italian for Halloween. Well, fuck you! Don't do that shit. Dress up as something like, say you're from the mob, or I don't know. If he said he was Native American, maybe, but still, fucking better be quicker than that. You're getting fruit at my house. And also, I had the intimate party I was talking about, right? Had a couple people over.
And also, I followed him home and murdered him.
No. We ended up drinking like 4 bottles of wine between like a few people.
Oh, is this when you're intimate party or the child? Like you're like, no, I got found him. We ended up drinking a couple of bottles of wine. We found out we had a lot in common.
You get fruit, and the other kids get wine with me.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I still have. But we get like over 200 people at our house, but it was so shitty in Michigan. We had like 60 trick or treaters, so I have all this extra candy. I've just been like, I'm like seeing kids on the street. I'm like, hey, you want some candy? I'm like, shit, that's really creepy. I can't do that. Like, no, really, I have a shit ton of extra candy. You guys.
It actually rained. It rained on Halloween, which even living in Northern California, this is the first time in my life I can remember it raining on Halloween. It looked like it was gonna rain, or it stopped raining right before we started trick or treating. But I've never seen it actually rain in like prime trick or treating time. And this is crazy, and especially for Los Angeles, it rained.
It was really like trick or treating in Michigan is brutal. Like, yeah, it's like 45 degrees, and if you want to keep your costume together, like you can't put anything over it, or you have to design a jacket into your costume somehow. So like what inevitably happens is you're a little kid, you do like 3 houses, and you're like, I'm fucking freezing, and then you have to put a coat over it and just walk around. Maybe that's why nobody puts as much effort in. It's like LA where it's nice and you can make something.
Well, normally it is, which it's fun because I was walking around. I had jorts and a Hawaiian shirt on, and it was fine. It got a little cold, but nothing terrible. But Kyle, he was wearing like this actual aviator jacket, so he was broiling all fucking night. And then we were walking to his car and stuff, and it was cold and kind of rainy. And I was like, well, at least you got that jacket on. He's like, no, I'm still fucking sweating my balls off.
I think, I don't know. I just like Halloween. The older you get, the less fun it becomes. Like
I don't think that. I think you can find fun in it. I think it's a.
But like okay, there's like a valley when you're like 14, and you're like, do I go trick or treating? Do I not? And like I just after I got back from work, I was just so not motivated to do anything. I'm just gonna sit. I just pass out candy.
I understand that because there is that once you realize you're too old. I probably gave it up a year or two before I needed to, but like once you stop trick or treating, then you're at that. Then it's a couple of years before Halloween can be any fun again because what the fuck now I get to pass out candy. I guess that's okay. And then but if you find like people that can do parties and stuff. In Los Angeles, there's a ton of shit to do on Halloween all over the place. Even when it's raining, people, the cops are arresting people in West Hollywood.
What do you think? I'm gonna get arrested.
No, they had those fucking serious police buses to arrest people who were dicking around. They had all these signs. It's like if you get caught with or selling silly string, it's like a $500 fine.
What? Silly string? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because apparently that's a huge fucking problem. Because that shit, because maybe that shit would go away when it rains, but it rains 4 times a year here. So.
Yeah, that's terrible. Silly string, like, did you guys? Because like before Halloween, there's Devil's Night, right? Like that's a thing. They try to change it to Angel's Night around here, but
that's I read about the history of Halloween, and that's the origin of Halloween. Basically, like kids and teenagers would be little shits on Halloween and the days before Halloween, and like, fuck, we need to do something. So they invented Halloween so that kids would have an outlet, so kids could like dress up and get candy, so they won't burn down all your barns and stuff in like the turn of the century. That's why they invented Halloween, because in like the 20s and 30s, teenagers would just destroy cars and houses and shit, and they're like, fucking make them put on ghost costumes and give them candy so they don't burn down the city.
See, but Joe, I think the problem that you were having before was it doesn't get to a point where you're too old. You have to do what's called reverse trick-or-treating, and that's where you're willing to give out candy on your front porch, but you do it in such a way like I would just sit there with a mask and like gloves and like boots on and just sit in a chair and be perfectly still with a bowl of candy next to me. And when somebody came up to grab the candy, I would jump up, and I'd say maybe 25% of the time, whoever it was would drop their candy and run away and never come back. So you get a little bit of the thrill from scaring the crap out of people. And one year, when I was in high school, I actually made more candy than I gave out because people would just keep dropping the bags of candy on my porch and refusing to come back and get it.
Assholes.
So that's what I'm saying. There comes a point where it's like maybe you don't need to go out and get the candy because the candy will come to you.
That's a good idea. Set up a candy trap.
Or if you scare them enough, you'll have a ton of candy. So it's kind of like you got to go trick-or-treating even though you bought the candy because you didn't end up having to give it out in the end so you can eat it all.
Or you just go around punching small children and taking their candy.
Yeah.
That, I once, this is one time I almost got into a fight. I once stood up, like, once it gets past 8 o'clock, that's like past trick-or-treat hours. We kept our light on for a long time here. But I once saw some teenagers like stealing candy from a baby, basically, like from like a 5-year-old that his mom left. And I was riding my bike at the time, and I was probably a teenager too. And I remember like chasing him down and thinking like I was like a superhero, like because I was dressed up in like, oh no, I was dressed up as a monk. And I was like, hey, and they ended up dropping the candy, and I returned it to the kid, and I was like, oh yeah, this kid's gonna split his candy with me because I got it back. The kid was so little, he had no comprehension of what just happened. He was just sitting there like, well, when am I gonna get my candy?
I was sad, and now I'm not sad because
like,
I don't understand. But luckily you tracked down those kids, smacked them around, but then got wine with them, and then found out you had a lot in common.
Yeah, exactly. Damn kids. I just wanted to be a superhero that minute. It lasted like all of like 10 seconds, but it felt like 10 hours. I was like, I'll find those kids. I had to look from house to house, but really it was like they got one house over and they dropped the candy and ran. Like, what was I going to do if I caught them? Hey, you twerps. You better get out of here, otherwise I'm going to kick your ass. Like, I wouldn't even have said that. I'd been like, I don't even know what I would have done. I don't know. Adrenaline kicked in.
Golly, you jerks! You better drop that candy, or I'm gonna give you a whooping.
I'm gonna tell your mom.
You better watch out, because my family has mob ties. This is Michigan. We all have mob ties. Oh.
Nobody has mob ties in Michigan. What are you talking about?
All Italians have mob ties.
Eventually, that's never.
You have to level up to that.
Yeah.
All Italians are related too. That's just how it works. That's just how it goes around these parts. And all white people look the same to me. I can't help it, people.
There's no denying any of these facts. These are all true facts that we've stated.
These are facts. They're on the internet now, so they're obviously facts. Oh my gosh. This is truly our style, you know. Let's talk about Halloween after it happens. We should be talking about Thanksgiving. Let's get ahead of the curve.
Well, I think Christmas is more appropriate at this point, judging by everything that, you know.
Oh, Thanksgiving doesn't exist anymore. Halloween, it goes this summer, then Christmas, and then the summer again. It's almost like there's almost not even Halloween. Like 2 weeks ago, Vons was selling Christmas decorations. I'm like, fuck you! It's not even Halloween yet.
I walked into a supermarket and it was 2 weeks ago. I went to go get Halloween candy, and there was what the fuck is this? And maybe we just don't remember when we were kids. Maybe we just didn't pay attention to that stuff. But
no, this is all new. It's not. Maybe we did.
It's slowly been creeping back towards the summer.
Yeah, it slowly creeps further and further back because I remember the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade would always end with like the guy saying, and now starts the Christmas shopping season because you're supposed to wait till the day after Thanksgiving for this shit. That's why Black Friday, but now Black Friday is not even.
A week and a half ago, I was seeing on television, like, oh, on such and such a network, starting in the first week of November, you'll be able to start watching Christmas movies. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's because the season's so lucrative in our consumer culture.
Yeah.
I just want to extend that. And you know what? I already bought Christmas gifts for people. Like, I'm buying into the fucking thing right now. It's ridiculous. What the shit? What's going on? I'm being duped. But, like, remember Christmas in July?
It sucks that that Christmas is taking over holidays, but Christmas has been taking over holidays forever. We moved Christmas to December because it matched with another holiday. Like we've been like manipulating Christmas and adding other things. We took Santa Claus from other things, and we're just like we mold it. So it's becoming soon it will be on Christmas morning. You will open a present, then go out dressed as Santa Claus to get candy from your neighbors, and then at night eat a giant Thanksgiving turkey. That's
a turducken.
You get candy eggs.
And then after dinner, you will hand your wife some candy and then fuck because that's what
it's your anniversary too. Don't forget.
Yeah, it'll be the holiday, it will have one holiday, and it'll be Christmas, and it'll be 3 weeks long.
I remember when Christmas in July used to be like a novelty. Like that's not a novelty anymore. That's.
I'm predicting that it'll be like January 1st will be the end of all the holiday 2014 sales, and then January 7th will be the beginning of the 2015 Christmas sales.
Get your 2015 gifts today. Like we'll be pre-ordering Grand Theft Auto 7. Great. Oh man, I don't know. I'm excited for Thanksgiving, but I'm also not going to be here for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be in Germany, so guys, I'm not going to be on the show that week.
Well, make sure that you don't remind us ever again, like always.
Or just at least an hour before the show.
No, okay. I either give you a lot of warning or no warning at all. At least I told you I wasn't going to be on the show, and it wasn't just like, oh yeah, sorry, bye, and just never said anything. I can put it on the Just Cool Enough calendar. Should I do that?
No, because we don't check that shit. Just tell us the week before the show. That's too much tax. A week. 7 days.
Actually, you know what? The 25th, I won't be there. The 2nd, I won't be there. And the 9th, I won't be there because I'll be in Ireland. After Thanksgiving, I'm going to Ireland. So you guys are going to have to figure things out. I trust you guys enough to leave the show for 3 weeks.
Well, you better peek the show, Joe, while you're here, because that way when we fire you, because you were talking about that graph before,
I still have the graph. Remember the graph, people.
So maybe this is the time where we fire Joe. I mean, not yet. We have to wait.
I just have to say something incredibly mean to someone. Like it's sexist, racist, but yet somewhat thoughtful. Like I have to figure out what that comment is. I'll say it. The ratings will plummet, and that's when I leave.
Maybe one of our listeners could suggest in the emails they never write to us. But have a suggestion. They could email it to us at theshow@justcoolenough.com. Or pretty much anything, really, you could just email to us at theshow@justcoolenough.com, and more than likely we'll read it out on air. Anything.
Really? Just about anything?
Email us the word anything, and I will read it out on air.
I mean, pretty much anything, yeah. Anything goes in the inbox. It's basically like / Gone Wild over there. There's just so many girls posting pictures to our inbox. Everyone.
If you'd like to try out for Joe's position on Just Cool Enough, you could email us at the show at Just Cool Enough.
That's right.
I want to try out for our positions. Like if we could get 3 people to take over the show for us, and that would be awesome. Honestly.
All the profits go right to you. I mean, we take a cut. Don't get me wrong, but most of the profits go right to you. We just why aren't we farming this out? We can do this work. We can do the show for so much cheaper.
Says the guy who doesn't pay for anything in the show.
What are you talking about? I thought I paid for something.
You might have the domain. Yeah, so $10 a year. You're right.
Yeah, right. Like let's amortize that. Okay, so that's.
I have the best job.
Yeah.
Wait, why do you always give me shit? What has Ike done for the show? I can see, you know what? Let's pull up Ike right here on the screen. Can you see Ike right now, Eric?
No.
Do you see him? Do you see, if you look in the background of his screen, you could see that he's playing, I think, World of Warcraft or something. Because you could see in the back where there's like the Frostmourne thing, right?
No.
You see the Lich King back there?
No, that's your imagination, Joe. That's a World of Warcraft poster. That's why you see World of Warcraft thing.
No, I can see you. You sit here on the show and you think that you're just the best guy ever, and you sit here and you play games. And
So, you see, I'm required to be on the show because I'm the old guy, and you can't discriminate based upon age.
God damn it!
And
no,
also-
no.
Ike never presents himself as somebody who runs the show or has a huge financial stake in the show, but he shows up. He shows up every day. He
I might
does
show
the-
up late, but I still show up.
I'm gonna need some time off. I gotta do some soul searching. I have to go on a spirit journey, guys. You don't understand.
Fucking, and Joe's always like that. He's like, I can't do the show for the next 3 weeks. And then we'll skip a week. And he's like, what the fuck? You guys, I left it with you. I expected you to do something, and you're fucking over our listeners. Why don't you take this show seriously? By the
I'm
way,
just saying, if you're not gonna do a show,
I'm going to Canada for another 3 weeks, so I can't be here. But you guys need to step up your game.
if you're not gonna be there, at least say something on the Just Cool Enough website, so all 100 of our listeners are at least informed.
It was a thought experiment. We didn't do a show, and I waited for the first person to say, "Hey, where's the show this week?" And nobody asked.
Except for me.
Yeah.
So I'm asked.
You know what's funny? All the people asked me directly. They didn't even reach out to you guys, cause you guys don't respond to anybody. I'm the only one who talks to other people.
Well, that's because nobody wants to talk to me. It's not that I don't want to talk to people. It's
video
nobody
games.
ever talks to me.
No.
See, last Wednesday, I'm ass deep in 100 kids worth of grading, at least 3 projects, and you're like, oh, I'm not coming. So I go to Eric. I'm like, Eric, I can make it, but I prefer to get all my actual work done. He's like, oh, if we don't do it, Joe's gonna give a shit about it. So you might as well show up. I'm like, okay,
I believe I said when we don't do a show, Joe gets all fucking pissy.
Yeah.
Yes, I do get fucking pissy. If you're not gonna be here,
So-
fucking put something on the website. It takes 3 seconds.
So-
or at least tweet it. God damn it.
So why is that our responsibility, Joe? I mean, you're the one who said you weren't going to show up.
Right. And there's 2 more of you, and you guys did a great show last week, and I wanted to compliment you, but now you pissed me off, and I revoke my compliments.
So here's your fruit.
Here's your goddamn banana.
You know what, Joe? You and I have to say to you, we've been doing this show for like 5 fucking years now or some shit, and I've been holding this in for too long. It's time for me to finally say, do you think I should go with lesser restoration or maybe a more damaging spell? Because I don't have a second level spell. I have the slots, but I don't have a spell. And lesser restoration has more utility.
Why would you go with the first level spell? It's useless. The second level spell's gonna do more damage.
No, you're thinking about the old school D&D. Their utility now.
I can use my first level spells with my second level spell slot to do more damage and healing. But that's the thing, I only have really 1 damaging spell, and Lesser Restoration again is more of a utility spell, which I think will help us in the long run. But I don't know if if I am the healer, it makes sense to have it. But I would like something cool like Zone of Truth. We already have somebody who has Crown of Madness, so I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, I think the healing would be the better way to go. I mean, I know you can
Well,
kind
it's
of
not a healing
off-tank
thing.
everything.
It removes poisons and deafens and stuff like that, which I think we haven't encountered too much of. But I figured it'd be a nice thing to have. But still, it's a second level spell slot where I could get something else. Like I could get Cloud of
It
Daggers.
sounds like you really need to get a dating app or something, because you just have been talking about D&D way too much, far too much for someone who's...
Whoa.
I will have you know that almost exactly a year ago, I started an OkCupid thing, and I got the app, and then one girl tried to talk to me, and I immediately was like, I was so terrified that she sent me a message that I deleted my account. So...
You were that guy at the party who, after somebody talked to you once, you just got up and walked out.
You did. You pulled the cool guy at the OkCupid party.
Yeah.
Like, see ya, ladies. Put on your glasses.
I don't remember what it was she said, but it was something innocuous to try and start a conversation. And then I immediately like stifled a scream and then was like, deactivate account.
Like, hey, I saw your profile. You look like a nice guy. Whoa, I'm not ready for that kind of a commitment yet. This is just a little too much. Back off.
I think it's because I was using that same fucking photo that I have in the show, and she's like, "Oh, is that a giant donut you're eating there?" And I was like, "Ah, girl talking to me!" Ah, and it's not like she was like hideous, like she looked cute or whatever. I don't even remember what she
There
looked
wasn't
like.
any major turnoffs for you.
It was just the fact that she struck up a conversation and I didn't know her, and it freaked me out. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
You want to go on OkCupid and your mom message you? What did you expect was gonna happen?
I don't know. That's why I tried it, and turns out I'm just as terrible. I should have known because I'm terrible at communicating with people through emails or telephone messages or on any of that stuff. They'd be like, blah, blah, blah. I'm the worst. Like,
I'm telling you, 2 shots of tequila, and you would have had a novel written back to her.
Okay, dude. It's called Booker's. It'll hurt. It's gonna hurt, especially your first time, and you're gonna have to do it a couple times. But it will give you the courage to talk to anybody, not women. I mean, you'll be talking to inanimate objects. You just need to drink a little bit of this.
I just can't. I can't do that shit. Our old sketch coach, we had him for like 6 months. And he was like, yeah, we should play Hearthstone because he was really into Hearthstone. And I was like, the easiest way to find someone is probably if you don't like their email or their Facebook. And I was like, I should Facebook him. And I was like, I don't know, is that weird? I mean, every other member of my sketch group's Facebook friend him like the week after they met him, and here he'd been our coach for like 3 or 4 months, and I was like, I don't know, is it weird? Is it weird? Like I debated it for a week before I finally did it, and then I immediately regretted it, and then he like added me almost like after I was like, I should undo it, and I was like never think, but I'm just like I just can't. I was like, do I know? I know this guy for
desperate. I don't want to come across as desperate and accept it too quickly, but I don't want to.
You just come off as weird because you never accept it.
Is it weird? Is it weird? Like I met her at Kyle's gaming night, and then I went to her Halloween party, and she remembered my name, and we talked very briefly. Is it weird if I added her as a friend? It's like, what is this? I don't know.
That's weird, dude. That's really weird. You know what?
Fuck. Then I gotta unfriend her.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. Like, you think you got it bad, Eric? Man, I was talking to a few girls after I drank a little bit, and they were telling me how it's incredibly hard for them to go shopping because, or basically go anywhere without being catcalled and bothered and just totally creeped out by random dudes. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. Like, I really didn't understand the gravity of the situation. And then I realized all those times at the store where I'm honestly just trying to start smart, like, I'm like, hey, like, have you had this, like, Simple Truth cheese before? And then, like, they look at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And then they, like, walk away really fast. I'm like, wow, man, I'm fucking creepy or something. Like,
that's not bad. If you're like, hey, baby, you want me to eat this off your asshole or something like that, then that would be. But if you're just like, hey, have you ever had this? By the way, my name is blah, blah, blah. That's not a... Yeah.
That's exactly like, and that's like, I'm like at the deli counter, I'm like, hey, have you tried this like macaroni salad before? And the lady like looks at me, she has a number in her hand, and then she like just walks away. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? Like, what did I even say? But then like I was talking to all these girls.
I can relate to those women because anytime a woman's like, hey, do you know what time it is? I'm like, and I run away.
I just thought I was extremely attractive, and they couldn't think of anything to say back to me. So that's what I've been going with. But then I find out that it's like impossible for any girl to walk anywhere without being like a guy like with his tongue on the ground going.
But you weren't. So I think on the flip side, it's interesting that those women assumed that you were trying to do anything but be friendly.
That's what I'm saying. But they've been trained. Those girls have been trained at like not. I'm like. I would say, and they came back around because I mentioned that, and they're like, it's probably like 10 to 20% of your population, but we have to assume everybody because that's just how it is. I'm like, but I just want to ask about the zesty garlic dressing.
Yeah, this is why I go out of my way to never even like make eye contact with women when I'm out in public. I'm just like don't even acknowledge their existence because so you know.
As long as you're not, like I'm one of the eye contact people. Like I'm just like. Hey, what's up? No, don't try not to blink though. Hey, yeah, grilled cheeses are awesome, right?
Yeah, I think what you need to do in order to open a conversation is start off by saying, "Hey, you have really nice eyebrows."
Oh my
Because
god.
either they'll be so creeped out they'll walk away, which they probably would have done regardless of what question you asked, or maybe
actually,
they'll do something, in which case you got a free show and you've opened up a conversation.
so the strategy I've started to adopt is like, hey, my girlfriend, like I lead with that. So then they're like,
So it
oh,
seems
okay.
devastating.
Right.
Well, there is a thing about women always find themselves more attracted to men who have girlfriends because they're not trying to get with them, because they're
Well,
not actively trying to
great.
fuck everything that moves.
So like,
But you need to open with, yeah, so the girl I keep in my basement, she's tried this cheese before. She said she didn't really like it. What do you think?
she hates Velveeta. That girl in my basement hates Velveeta. Maybe like I was saying away for. Now Eric's gone forever. We scared Eric off. We talked to him and looked at him in the eyes, and Eric just walked away.
You had a conversation.
I do it to everyone. I can't help it. I'm incredibly beautiful, and they're scared to talk to me.
Daylight savings, it's getting super fucking dark in my room. I'm like, God, and like I turned up the brightness on my monitor to light my face, and like it's still not, like it's so fucking dark in my room right now.
The
You gotta do it faster, because otherwise it's creepy. You gotta just go, ah!
Just to, like squint down. I told the girls, I was like, here's my advice. Lead with everything you say, like, my boyfriend thinks, or, yeah, my boyfriend loves that. Because that's an automatically, like, boner kill immediately. Like, if you...
Yeah, but see, that's terrible advice, because the problem with that is that if you... The reason why that works is because men respect men more than they respect women. They're like, oh, she's already somebody's property, so I'll back off. I know
that's fucked up. I know that's fucked up, and it's a band-aid to the situation. Is it? But what better advice could you get? Like, I'm not trying.
I almost wonder if that would cause it to compound even more. Being like, well, I wonder if I can get, if some guys would be like, well, I wonder if I can get this bitch to leave her man.
No way.
No, usually it's like, oh, I don't want to fuck with some other dude's lady.
You don't know how big that dude is. You don't want to fuck with that. Like, what if he's a fucking bodybuilder? You don't know. He could be some scrappy little dude, but you don't know.
I'm the exact opposite. I'm like terrified, and then when a girl's like, my boyfriend something, I'm like, oh, thank God. Now now she's taken, so I can be friends with her, and we can we can just be bros, and I don't have to like ever fucking worry about it.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Now there's never any chance that I could be with her, so that's great.
Just go on to Craigslist and hit up some M for T stuff, busting the cherries, and then just make it happen, or M for whatever. Just find, cast out those demons, Eric. Cast them out. This is bro advice. Cast out those demons. Let them free. You can't. You're holding them in. Cast them out. The Crucible. John Proctor. Let my people go. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just yelling things. I'm gonna eat a chicken nugget. You guys talk for a second.
I guess we can go into stories because we've got nothing else to talk about. I tried to make a transition earlier, but then it like passed, and then we talked about other shit. But apparently, you cannot sue somebody just because they have a fat ass and an Instagram account.
Why is this a story? What happened?
Apparently, Kim Kardashian was upset. Kim Kardashian, if you don't know, is the celebrity who invented the concept of having an ass. Up until Kim Kardashian started doing pornography, nobody had asses. There was no conceptual idea of what an ass was, but she invented them. And somebody has the gall, this woman on Instagram has just the gall. Her name is Jen Settler or something like that. She has the absolute fucking gall to have an Instagram account, have a butt, and take pictures of her butt and put it on Instagram.
So what's the problem here? It looks like she's in Chicago. All right, getting closer. Yep.
Well, the problem is Kim Kardashian invented both the ideas of Instagram, taking photos of your butt, and the concept of having a butt whatsoever at all.
So I assume that she's suing over butt pictures?
Well, she wanted to, but apparently you can't copyright the idea of having a butt.
She's like Apple of buttholes.
she's tried stuff like this before. Like Old Navy had like an advertisement with a girl with brown hair, and she sued them because they were clearly ripping off her style with being a lady with brown hair. So yeah, and here's another one: a lady with brown hair and a butt on Instagram.
That's impossible. When I think of brown-haired girls with butts as one brand, and that's Kardashian, because it's like Kleenex. She's the Kleenex
the Kleenex or the Q-tip of having a butt and brown hair.
Right. And so it should be illegal for other girls to have a butt or brown hair,
or even a vagina for that matter. I'm surprised she hasn't sued over other women having a vagina.
I think it's really important
for that because those existed, but she can sue over fucking Ray J and getting famous from that. So
I really like being on the same side as somebody who had sex and got famous because they had sex with somebody.
Yeah, having a fat ass and a sex tape. That's why she's famous.
There you go, Joe. I figured out how you can get famous.
I don't.
Also, she's a very
accomplished actress.
She's an extremely accomplished actress. She was in a Disaster movie.
Ooh, that was so good. Didn't that win like a Emmy award?
I think it won a BAFTA.
Oh no, actually, I think it's a Pulitzer Prize. It won a writing award.
Yeah.
Actually, I heard that they're going to try to get her to be one of the stars in Boracane.
Boracane.
Yeah.
So Kim Kardashian, she popped on the scene after she had sex with that guy, and I just was like, well, that can't be the only thing that she's popular for. Like, I
remember when that sex tape was out and people were like, oh, it's this Kim Kardashian sex tape, and I was like, but who is is she like on a TV show? I don't know. Yeah. No, okay. She did a sex tape so she could get a TV show. Like why do I give a shit about some lady who did porn?
Do you think she just capitalized on it? She's like, oh my god, I had sex with that dude.
No, she absolutely did. Like they had that released on purpose so she could have a career, and it's worked. She's a fucking millionaire. Like,
guys, I'm not saying that we should have a sex tape, but we should do sex tapes.
I hope that. I'm sorry, Joe. I don't swing that. I don't mean to bust your bubble, but
I mean, think of it though. Do you really know unless you tried it twice, Ike?
Well, yeah, who's gonna want to?
I got a really decent camera. If you guys want to, and my
really
buddy's got some great.
Good at some special.
My buddy's got some great lights as well, so we could really get. I mean, I've got a slider. I've got this really nice shoulder.
This will take care of some things too. We can into places with this Bookers.
Yeah, I got this really nice shoulder mount, so if you want to go handheld, it keeps it pretty steady,
So, Joe, my really quick.
I have one of these mounts here. I don't know where we could stick it, but
Off topic, really quickly, Joe. Did you sign? Is the reason why you weren't on the show last week? Is because you signed a contract with Bookers to shamelessly plug their product on our show?
Actually, now, not Bookers, but Burger King.
See, that's disgusting.
For what, dude, it was fucking disgusting. Before the show.
Not the food. Your blatant product placement disgusts me. And the only thing,
make money on this show.
I feel like I have my mouth tastes like vomit right now, and the only thing that I can use to wash it down is a cool and refreshing Diet A&W cream soda.
Oh wow, Eric,
that's so good. It's so good. Please send me some.
This Burger King smells so bad. I'm gonna use some Febreze. Yeah. I'm done with. My Burger King ended my contract. So Febreze.
You absolutely are like the worst kind of person, and I'm gonna tweet and Facebook and just email everyone I know in my incredible Samsung phone. I mean, Samsung, such good phones.
If anything, they'll pay us to stop marketing our property. Exclusive contract signed by Samsung to get back-end nobody on the internet to stop marketing their products to them.
Keep an eye on all the things you want to stop with this security camera by Focus Cam, enabling you to spy on your wife while she doesn't understand about this stuff, and also spy on your friends over a wireless network. I really got to get this thing working, actually. So this is I fixed somebody's computer and they had no money to pay me, but they had one of these, and I was like, I'll just take that. I'll take this creepy night vision camera, and they're like, all right, yeah, that's a fair trade. I'm like, all right, cool. Come to find out, it's worth like $80 or whatever. I'm like, all right, I did like an hour of work. That's about $80. Okay, sure, why not? So I work. I barter sometimes. If somebody came to me and was like, "Hey, I have like 3 crates of bananas. What can you do for?" I think I could turn that banana into profit somehow.
I'd be like, call me when they're dried plantain chips, and then we'll talk.
Why not try eating pretzels, Eric? Delicious Snack Factory pretzel chips are deli style, and garlic parmesan is their new flavor. Try them today at your local supermarket. Garlic Parmesan Snack Factory. I'm gonna get really good at plugging stuff.
You guys remember Wayne's World 2, right?
Yes.
No, it was the first one. It was the first one.
The first one?
It was selling out.
Yeah.
No, but I mean the second one. The guy from the second one, I think, who was trying to get his girlfriend to sign a contract with him. Maybe that was the first one. That was the first one. Well, and like trying to take Wayne's place. I'm trying to remember the actor's name, but he has a new Comcast commercial where.
Yeah, Rob Lowe. That was the second one.
Yeah, where he was like, it's Rob Lowe and awkward Rob Lowe, and like, awkward Rob Lowe kind of reminds me of you, Eric, where he's like, or looking out the window waiting for the Comcast person. He's like, I hope it's not a lady or a guy, and closes the curtains.
Awkward Rob Lowe. Our whole show is awkward in certain ages.
Thankfully, I have the wonderful service of Time Warner Cable. It's not wonderful. It's actually kind of terrible. I hate most of it, but it's the only thing you can get that's not fucking satellite. So it's better than Time Warner Cable. It's better than not having any television. But just barely.
You know what? This show could be brought to you by viewers like you. How about you donate to Just Cool Enough so we don't have to plug all this shit? Oh man. Actually, I do have a plug this week, but I know it's not time.
Well, that's amazing because it's just about time we stop talking about this horse shit like Halloween or sexy lady butts on Instagram and start plugging each other.
Oh, finally! I was just a little too early with that.
Yeah.
You're a little premature, Joe.
It happens, I would rather be a little premature than never come at all. Right? Am I right?
No.
Okay, Eric, why don't you just plug something before?
All right. My plug for this week is I'm getting into the National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo. I plug this like every year, and then I never write anything. This year, I'm seriously going to do it.
Well, you did that one year, the space truckers.
Oh, yeah.
That's so cool, man.
2008. I don't think we were doing this podcast in 2008.
Well, we were doing the after show at that point.
Yeah.
How about you rewrite that with, like...
I'm already writing something. I don't have time to rewrite something. I got to do this, and I got sketch writing I got to do. I don't have time to write 2 novels and sketch. I'm writing a yet untitled fantasy novel, which I'm actually kind of digging how it's coming along. I'm about 7,000 words in as of right now, and it's only the 5th day. So, and I'm still on track to complete
How many words a day are you writing? I mean, obviously a lot more than the 100. That's the minimum, right?
No, the minimum, the average you have to write to get 50,000 words in 30 days is 1,667, and I've kind of been doing that most days, right around there. Usually, always a little more, never less, but making sure to hit the word count. So I hit the word count last night, and today I have to hit my word count, which I have to check to see what that is. It's probably less than, but I try and write, even if I'm slightly ahead, I try and write more. I try and write exactly at least 1,667. Yeah, I have to hit what do I have to hit 8,333 today, which shouldn't be terrible, but I'll probably write a little bit more. So but yeah, you can go you can follow me on there. I'm at Duncor, DUNCOR. It's I think it's nanowrimo.com/participants/Duncor. You can follow me and be a writing buddy of me, and we can never talk to each other, but encourage each other through just thoughts.
Eric will probably never respond to you.
Eric's going to see that you spoke with him, and then he's going to cancel his NaNoWriMo thing. I can't do it anymore. I'm done. My plug for this week is actually something that's actually a plug. It's called Buzzard.com, and it's a new product that my buddies over at the Red Theory are... Yes, my buddies over at the
Actually, a
Theory
blog.
have made, and basically it's a cool service, and they need a few users to kind of test it out. So it's completely free right now, and I think it's actually going to be free for forever. It's pretty cool. You put in what you want to find and do research on, and you put in a small criteria of what it is. Like if you want a camera, you say, hey, I want a DSLR camera, and it has to have 1080p video, and it needs to be under this price point. And they do the research for you, and then send you back the recommendations. So instead of going through the hassle of, like, oh, is this camera right? Is this camera right? They find an expert, and the expert actually researches that for you, and it's completely free. So go check it out. It's Buzzard.com. It's a totally new idea. They're using some awesome back-end stuff, and they need a small audience to test it because they can't roll it out to the whole world. So he came to me, and he's like, hey, Joe, you have a small audience. Would you like to put this on your show to see if anybody uses it? And I'm like, oh, actually, yeah, sure. We do have a small audience, and this would kind of be cool. So go check it out. It's Buzzard.com, and be part of the release of something very, very cool. Ike, what do you got?
Let's see, because we haven't done it this week, on November 13th is the release of Warlords of Draenor. Go check it out.
Ah! Royal Draenor. Everybody's trying to be like, oh, Joe, you gotta play. I'm like, no!
They're saying coming back, and Blizzard, even one of the execs said, yeah, it'll still be around in 2024. I'm like, I don't know about that much.
2024?
Well, I mean, they probably won't be actively updating it by that point, but
sure it'll
the
be
game
around.
they're not going to take the servers down.
Actually, the Electronic Frontier Foundation just I think put a bill up for grabs saying like games that are no longer supported, like games that are over 10 years old and are orphaned, no longer supported, no longer have development. Things like The Matrix Online. That's a shout out to Brady right there. Like games like that there aren't any publishers for. They want to make a rule to say, private people could bring it back and set up servers. So potentially any game you played could be brought back. Especially like MMOs like that. Like where does that MMO go once it's dead?
Well, I'll tell you, I've probably mentioned this before, but not in a while. The reason why I knew that Matrix Online was going to fail, not because it looked stupid or I didn't care, but because like a couple months after it came out, I was at a video game conference and I got a free copy of the game. And I was like, this game's like 2 months old. I don't think it's doing well. And it wasn't like there was a person handing out swag or I had to wait in line. It came in the bag that they hand you when you get your ticket, like that you're supposed to fill with other things. Like it was already in there. So I was like, oh god, this game must really blow.
So yeah, that's actually a good other plug. Help the Electronic Frontier Foundation legalize abandoned games. Bring them back online. So go check it out. I'll put the link on the show notes also.
All right, and that's all we've got for this fucking travesty of a show. But you guys can always email us at this show at justcoolenough.com and just check out the website for all the other stuff that we may someday do on there or did at one point. We've got movie commentaries and all kinds of great stuff on there if you want to check all that shit out, and all our old shows are up there for download purposes. But you can always follow me on Twitter. I'm at Duncor, D-U-N-C-O-R.
You can not follow me on Twitter at SpeedyF40. I might change my name, so who knows. Great advertisement, Joe. You're an idiot. All right, Ike, what do you got?
Or you can follow me on Instagram. I've been not Instagramming for a few months, but I'm getting back into it now with some really cool apps that I've found. So you can follow me on Ike_Dodge.
Or you can follow me on Instagram at mostly shit.
Please plug your Instagram, Eric.
Mostly shit. Because most of what I put there is absolute shit. Which, like, you'll be like, why is he called that? And then you'll see all the pictures, and you're like, I get it.
I get it. Oh, yeah. I got the joke.
It's not a joke. You're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it is mostly shit.
One of the people that I know one of the people on the internet has the name on Instagram Brown as a last-ditch effort for a name, and that was the name they have now. So don't follow them, though. All right. Good show, guys. I'm really glad I could be here this week, as a special guest.
Yeah, thanks to all the listeners for showing up and dealing with the stuff. And until next week, fuck off.
What? You didn't do it last week, and you did it when I'm here?
Yeah, I only do it.
don't-
Is this the part where at the end of the show we talk about it? Like, because we totally figure out
God.
The problem is bards. Their collection of spells is
Make
actually
sure to get your
smaller
Burger King
than
chicken
others.
nuggets for the low price of $1.29 for
So-
10. Choose between sauces like jet fuel and shit stain. Mmm.
I was thinking about going maybe like Spell Sniper. You learn techniques to enhance your
Yeah,
attacks.
I
It's
saw
like
that.
spells.
Like, if I went with the College of Lore, I would totally do that. But since I'm the College of Valor, I gotta I'm being more of an off tank.